welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford, and it is Thursday, March 14th. We are here live. It's time for a free-for-all. The phone lines are open. I got to say, if it wasn't for that annoying little countdown, I would have missed my own show. Probably why I'm choking. It surprised me. I was putting up a post and not paying attention, so it's a good thing I heard it. We are here live. We're going to open the phone lines. We only have an hour this morning, and then we'll head on into Rolling Toe. So if you want to get in now, jump in quickly. I have some things I want to talk about, and if I look at my list, I could probably spend the whole hour. I could easily spend the whole hour on them. One of them, though, would be better for tomorrow, so I'll save that. I may talk about a couple others while we're getting some calls in here. So jump in and join us. If you're listening on the app, just hit that call now button. If you're on a phone, dial 319-527-6791. We'll get to those calls here in just a couple minutes. Where do I want to start? I'm going to start with Noel's post. Noel Perry. Well, actually, it was an email. I posted it. I got an email this morning from Noel Perry. It's a short one, so I'll go read it. But it's really the same thing I've been saying for a long time. Let me get to it here. Obviously, I wasn't. I was up really early this morning. I got a decent night's sleep last night. Not a lot of sleep, but seems like it was good sleep. I felt pretty good. And yet, here I am, not prepared. I was working on a lot of posts this morning. So, actually, I was aggravating people on X. It's so easy to do. All right, so here it is. From Noel Perry, Wells Fargo's latest forecast. Two things to note. The narrative is all over the place, representing the confusing state of current economic forecasting. How many times have I said that, honestly, in the last 5 years? If you understand what they are saying, send me a note explaining it. Yeah, good luck with that. And Noel Perry is a very, very good financial analyst in the trucking industry. He's been doing this for a long time, and he can't make heads or tails of what all the economic data means right now. We've never seen anything like this. Second, their forecast is quite conservative, 1.3% growth the rest of the year. That is consistent with my modest growth forecast. And then my comment to that was, it's starting to feel like the 70s all over again with the kind of inflation we are facing. And first of all, let me clarify how they report inflation. The government, especially this administration, chooses to make it more confusing because they don't want you to know the truth. Inflation is our single biggest problem right now. Right up there with the southern border. That's a big one too. But inflation is a problem. But here's the way they report it. If last month the inflation was 6%, and then this month it's 3%, or quarter, however we're reporting it, doesn't matter what time period we're using, they report it as though inflation went down. It did not. 3% is still inflation. The rate of inflation went down, but we are not at 3% inflation. We're at 9%. You have to add it to last month. The prices continue to go up every month because inflation went down to 3% this month. Doesn't mean we're going to pay less for anything. We're still going to pay more. But I swear people believe, like, when they want to argue with me, they're like, well, you're wrong. This administration is bringing prices down, inflation down. No, they're not. Not even close. And when we're looking at this kind of inflation, we should also be seeing a booming, robust economy. But we're not. We're seeing the opposite. We're seeing a slowing economy. We are seeing more people being laid off. We are seeing every sign that this economy is stalling, and yet inflation and prices keep going up. That was the 70s, stagflation. We had a decade of very, very little growth, a very flat economy, but high prices. It was a bad time, and it looks like we might be heading for that again, but again, these numbers are really confusing. One other thing I want to throw out there, I haven't had to talk about this or deal with this since I left Sirius. I think everybody knows that we are really transparent about everything we do as a company. We take any call on the air, even if it's somebody that wants to really throw a fit about something we did wrong or something they don't like. We don't try to hide those things. In fact, I like to put those people on the air so everybody can hear it. Let's address it. If it's one of our vendors or partners, we tell them up front. If somebody wants to call our show and complain about your product or service, we let them, and then we will let you respond to them, and we'll work it out. If there are problems, let's talk about them and let's get them fixed. We're not trying to hide anything. But here's something else that is a real struggle in this business. This radio show as a business is one of the most difficult I've ever run. And here's why. How many times have you heard me say, the way to succeed in business is to provide the most value to your customer. Customer means somebody who is paying me for this service. To provide the most value to your customer you possibly can. Now, let's think about a radio show as a business. And this is one of the reasons. I remember 2 years ago I was telling you were going to have to pay for this radio show at some point. We were going to make it a subscription service because we don't want to sell commercials or have sponsors for the radio show itself. Because I love doing this show without commercials. I think it is such a big improvement. So we decided now not to charge for it. It could possibly change in the future, but we don't have any plans. We'll figure out other ways to generate revenue. Here's one of the reasons I did that. We don't have a good tracking system right now. We will build a much, much better tracking system into our software once we're able to. But even then, it's hard to quantify our entire audience because some people listen to our show as a podcast later because we record everything and make it available. And you can find it on Apple Podcast and many other podcast platforms. And we don't have a way to go gather all of that data right now and tell us. We're working on that, though, because it would be nice to know. But I'm going to make a best guess based on the data we do have. And I just really don't know how accurate it is anyway. We're using metrics that other people put together. I think we have somewhere between 40 and 60,000 active listeners. That's my best guess. I never knew how many we had on Sirius because they wouldn't tell us. They claimed they didn't know. I think that was a lie. But so think about it. Even if it's 400 and not 40,000, how do you provide the most value to 400 people at the same time when they all want something different? People will say, oh my God, don't you dare talk about fuel mileage again. That's all you ever talk about. Well, no, it's not. Don't talk about health. I hate when you talk about health. Oh, my God, you were talking about politics the other day and you're open. I mean, I get that constantly. Well, what do you want me to customize my radio show to you? What about the rest of my customers? So it was a part of a decision not to charge for this. If you're not paying me for this, you're not really my customer as far as this service goes. This is just something we provide. If you don't like the way I'm doing the show, you don't have to listen. You didn't pay me for this. So we used to get those calls more often when I was on Sirius. We haven't had many of those lately. And like I said, we put them on the air. Yesterday was a little different. Chelsea was screening calls yesterday, and screening is not Chelsea's primary job here. Chelsea does many other things in the company. The reason we have her screen on Wednesdays is because she's going through the NTP program, and it's really good for her to take those calls on that day when we're talking about health and to be actively listening to the show. I mean, she can listen if she's doing another job, but you don't really listen when you're doing something else. So it's really good for her to get that experience. But because we haven't dealt with this in a long time, we didn't really tell her some of this stuff. It's our policy to, if you have a complaint, we'll bring you on the air, we'll talk about it. In fact, we put you to the front of the line. We also, like our employees, we give our employees to make a decision on their own if something comes up. So during the show yesterday, Chelsea got a call, and somebody was obviously very pissed off that I spent the first, however long I did, 45 minutes, promoting the CMC. And then there was some other complaint that I'm not even sure what it was, but he wasn't very nice about it. He was dropping F-bombs. First off, if you do that to our employees, I'll give you a chance to apologize, and after that, I'll probably fire you as a customer. I don't want your business if you are going to call my employees and treat them that way. We've done nothing to you to deserve that. And I've seen a pattern, especially with men. They will talk this way to women. They will never talk that way to me or Aaron or any of the males in the company. Don't do it. Now, he wanted to go on the air and talk to me, and Chelsea made a decision that she thought it would be disruptive to the show, and she wouldn't put him on the air. Well, Scott, if you would like to talk to me today, please call. Whatever complaint you have, we will let you air to everybody so we can all hear it. And I know you wanted to come on the air yesterday, and I would have taken you. But I'm glad Chelsea made the decision she made. We want our employees to be able to do that. Now Chelsea knows anytime she's screening, if we get a call like that, put them through. I'll take them. So, Scott, you want to talk to me today? Please call. All right. With that, I'm going to get to the calls because they are piling up. Let's go to South Carolina. Terrence, welcome.
What's up? What's up, Kev? Well, whoever that guy's rude. Chelsea is the nicest person. I shouldn't say that because Angie is too.
Right.
I mean, your staff is amazing. So to behave like that is kind of silly, but we don't know what his problem is. Hopefully he calls in and we can figure that out. I got a couple of things, but the other thing I want to say, I was yelling at the phone on Power Hour when that other dude was calling in about that truck.
Oh.
And Kevin, you know me. I own my own truck. I got rid of it years ago, but if just the way everything was laid, I mean, it was laid out. I'm not saying you wasted the time on him, and then at the end, I'll call you back and let you know how it goes. I was like,
hey.
You really didn't just do that.
I know. Terrence, do you know why I sometimes take a lot of time like that and try to convince them over and over and over? It's not really that I think I'm going to change their mind. I can usually tell pretty quick if somebody's going to listen to me or not.
Yeah.
I do it for everybody else's benefit.
To help everyone else.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, I just was like, I'm going, I was waiting for you to, because it almost sounded like you were ready to tell him, not, you don't use the word, but in a roundabout way that, okay, you go away.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That could be just what I wanted to hear.
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking sometimes. Like, so why do you keep asking me for my advice if you're absolutely not going to take it?
Right. Or just say, hey, you know what? Thank you for your advice, but I'm not going to. Just say that. Don't keep asking the same question.
Matt coined a phrase a long time ago about people like that. We call them ask holes.
That's a great phrase. Let's remember that.
Yeah, it is.
So I mean, I hope he's listening and changes his mind because, like you said, that's the amount of miles on that thing,
I am pretty darn good at predicting who's going to succeed at this and who is going to fail. And his odds of failure are 90% plus in this scenario.
Yeah. You don't want to see that, but like you said, some people are just, maybe that's what it takes for him to have a failure. But like you said, that could wreck you financially for life.
You may not recover from that. And like I said, I have seen marriages lost over this.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, now here's my other the reason why I called. So Monday, Leanne had to take her son to the airport. She had a labs thing at the doctor. So she goes and gets the labs. They take the labs. She stands up, and she must have got dizzy. She fell in the doctor's office. So they got her up. They were going to call 911. She's like, please don't call 911. You know, I'm fine. Just let me sit here. So they gave her some fluids and all of that. You know, they sat her there, let her sit for a couple hours, kept their eye on her. They scanned her to make sure her head, which is I didn't agree with, but they did all this bullshit. Her daughter picked her up, brought her home. So then all of a sudden I get a phone call, because I'm on there, from the doctor's office saying, oh, you know, we're gonna have her stop, because she has two different doctors. Now she's doing the radiation in the skull, which I don't agree with, but again, it's not me.
Right.
So she calls, well, we're going to have them stop doing this. I'm like, well, I have to say something. I said, you people do not communicate. The two of you doctors aren't communicating. Well, this is what she said to me. She goes, well, it's really not for us to communicate. I said, bullshit. I said, your Dr. Patel, recommended she go for this procedure, and you're telling me they don't talk? Well, it's not up for us to make that happen. Oh. So I went off on her. I went. So
let me address
so
that.
So I was like that with that one. Sure, yeah.
Real quick, because there's a statistic out there. Some people argue it, but it looks pretty straightforward to me. Our medical system overall is in such shambles when it really comes to taking care of people that the statistic is like it is the fourth leading cause of death in the United States. How do we allow a medical system that operates like that?
I have no idea, Kevin. I knew about it because like I said, with my feed, I watched it from an early age.
Right.
The way I was treated when I was a kid in the hospital.
And it's gotten far worse since then.
Oh my God, yeah. Even though there's all the litigation, it's still got, because people can say whatever they want. Now you just got to prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even then, that's just.
Well, and here's something else. Here's something else. This system has so much money, lawsuits don't bother them at all. It's just a part of doing business for them.
Mm-hmm. Nope, they're right. I mean, like I said, the only thing I can say is you even say too is the emergency and the trauma end of it. They're fantastic, but all this other stuff, it's just like they don't listen to you. They don't want to hear it. And the minute you question them, it's like, ooh, you know, you said it. What are you? Like, you've got that. What are you? You're just a nutritionist. Well, you know, I have.
Yeah.
You got results.
Yeah. Well, here's something else. When I'm going to clarify my statement. When I talk about our trauma, you know, care being top notch, I'm talking about the individual doctors and their skills. It's incredible. But the system itself is still a mess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could tell you nightmare stories of she used to tell me just in the ER, but you know, you don't want to be passionate. But just the fact that so finally, you know, she's going again today for now they're doing another scan of some crap. I couldn't take her, but after I had my little outburst, I'll call it, she started getting phone calls from the doctor. Oh, we're so sorry. I'm like, do you really have to? Do you really have to be? I'll just say, do you really got to be an asshole?
I know.
To get results.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I was that person a long time ago. I tried to not be that person, but it's getting harder and harder not to be that person. Just to get yourself heard.
I find I find the same thing, and if we're honest, it's not just the medical system anymore. It is
it's everywhere.
Everything about our country. It is. I hate to be so negative, but boy, I am struggling to find much positive to talk about.
Well, just like you were talking about too, was about the inflation. I watched Sleepy Joe the other day, and I was like, the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. First of all, it sounded like it was a campaign.
Right.
You know,
it was
commercial.
Yeah.
Pretty much. His predecessor. He wouldn't say. You notice he never said his name. He just kept saying predecessor. He didn't.
Yeah,
he never said Trump.
Yeah, because had he said Trump even once, it would have come across as so over the top that he would have gotten blasted by everybody. He should be blasted by everybody anyway. That was one of the worst State of the Union addresses I have ever seen in my life.
When did you ever hear? And Kevin, I've never been big into politics. Over the last maybe 10 years, I've started getting into it. I've never heard that State of the Union like that. Usually it's
Nothing
like, hey,
that.
this is where the country is. These are our problems. This is what we're going to try to do it, and not the parties. It just was ridiculous. So.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but like I said, it just sucks that you got to have to. So I'm not agreeing with that guy, Scott. I hope Scott, can air this thing out. Cause like I said again, man, your staff is amazing, and I don't see why anyone's got to get on there and do that crap.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And by the way, I'll make this really clear. And this is another reason why I'm not going to charge for the radio show. It's my show, and I run this show like a dictator. Nobody, and I mean nobody, not our biggest sponsor, not anybody, tells me what I'm going to talk about on my show. And it's always going to be that way. And it's not going to change. So I will always take recommendations. You have some ideas, something that might make the show better, tell me. I'd love to hear them. And then I'll decide what I'm going to do with them. But if anybody thinks that they're going to tell me how I should run my show or what I should talk about at what point, it's not going to happen. Here's a really easy fix, though. If you don't like what I'm talking about, just turn it off. You didn't pay for it. All right. I need to talk about the CMC again because I want to fill up seats. We have an awesome opportunity for those last-minute signups. Well, for everybody, actually, but you have an opportunity now to get into this. So Friday, that would be tomorrow, is the last day to sign up for the CMC Live at Louisville itself. You will still be able to sign up for the year-long program, but if you want to be at the event at Louisville, I'm not even sure how many seats we have left. Hopefully not many. But we're going to do something fun. We are going to do a raffle for all of the people who are in attendance at Louisville. If you're there, you are going to win an opportunity, or you'll have an opportunity to win a CMC annual pass for the rest of the year, which technically is a $1,200 value because you can either pay $1,000 up front or you can pay $100 a month for the year, and it would cost you $1,200 to be in the program, which is a hell of a bargain. We're going to give away 2 seats to the CMC Live for the rest of the year, but you have to be in attendance at Louisville to get that. So sign up. I will be disappointed if there are not 200 people sitting in that room. I'm really shocked. I don't know if it's the economy or I really don't know what it is. Based on everything we've done in the past, a day and a half live in-person seminar with this much material for $100, I honestly thought we were going to sell it out in a week. We'll see what happens. Let's go to Kentucky. Adam, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kevin.
What's on your mind today?
Hello?
Adam, are you there?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can. What's on your mind today?
Well, I talked to, I believe it's Angie, about the fuel gauges, and she told me a way to access it. I haven't been able to access it in an app with this new phone that I got, so I'll try that. Hopefully it works.
Okay,
I would have signed up for the in-person CMC if there would have been information. It seemed like when you originally talked about it, you had talked about the idea of talking about starting a small fleet, and then you kind of transitioned into having that over the year-long program. And that's what I'm really interested in is the information about having a small fleet and also getting my own authority possibly in the future.
So just to address that, the amount of material in this program is so overwhelming that it was hard for me to figure out what to put into this day and a half. I could not do justice to the concept of getting your authority and building a fleet, even if that was all I talked about for the entire day and a half. And that wouldn't be what a lot of people really want or need. Before I can get to that point of talking about that, there is so much other material we need to understand. The biggest reason people fail when they try to buy that second truck is they don't understand all of these basic business concepts. You know, when I teach somebody how to run one truck, the primary focus is on profitability, bottom line profitability. I don't talk a ton about customer service and negotiations and rates, and I spend most of my time on how do you buy the truck right, how do you spec it right, how do you operate it right, how do you modify it, how do you track it. And we need to know basic business concepts. So we're going to talk about those at the live event. We'll get to some expense control, but that takes a long time. I'm having a hard time fitting that into a day and a half. And then once I can show somebody how to run one truck as profitably as possible, which is a lot of material and a lot of time, then we can talk about a second truck and growing a fleet. So that's kind of why I had to lay it out this way.
So I've been with Mercer for long enough to pay for a trailer, and I actually had last year I made less money gross and netted more, and I based that on the information that I had gotten from the class that I took from you about 4 years ago.
Excellent.
And so I feel like I'm running profitably, but I do like the idea of possibly having another driver and another truck. And I was going to wait a year, so I had gone a full year with having this trailer paid for and build up some larger reserves.
Good.
And then I was thinking about it. So the fact that you're planning on doing a year-long course would kind of coincide with with that plan of mine.
Yeah,
so I am very interested in the year-long course.
And on since you're with Mercer, on the second day of the CMC Live on Thursday morning, actually, no, I don't even know his last name. I think he's in the broker division at Mercer. Oh, shoot, what's his first name now? Tyler.
I wouldn't know. There's a lot of...
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the Mercer guys is going to join me on stage on Thursday to kind of talk about broker relationships and things like that.
All right. Well, I'll try to check that out.
Good.
All right. So when is the sign-up then for the year-long course?
You can sign up right now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it going to be kind of like the class where you could listen in and then talk if you can make it to the class? I mean, when is the how does that work?
So we will have a live virtual webinar every other week. I think we already have the date set, but I'm not. Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday early evening on the East Coast probably. They'll all be recorded, so even if you miss one, you'll be able to go back and see everything we did and talked about it. But if you are there live, when I teach, I am very interactive. I don't usually do something like I'm going to talk for 2 hours and then I'm going to give you 15 minutes to ask questions. I allow questions at any time, and I manage it. If somebody asks a question that doesn't make sense right now, I'll tell them, we're going to get to that, ask the question again later. If somebody tries going off on long stories, I cut them off, and I've been doing this a long time. I'm pretty good at managing time, but I like to be very interactive. I don't like talking for 2 hours and then giving 15 minutes for questions. So the presentations, I will have a certain amount of material I want to get out each time, and I will get it out, and I will leave plenty of time for questions, and those questions can be all throughout the entire time.
One of the things that you had in the class the last time is you had a lot of assigned reading, which I did enjoy, and I learned a lot from, especially like Profit First. I can't remember the name of that book. Remember that was the name of the book.
Oh, that was a good one, Profit First.
Are you going to have books that you're going to suggest as well, or not really?
I have a huge book list for this program. In fact, it's possible that there could be 1 or 2 books recommended every session.
Okay. All right, good. All right, I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that question, I've said that this program, we're having some audio issues again. It goes away when the driver was talking. How did I fix this last time? Aaron, do you remember? I thought I did something last time to fix this. I'm talking. Aaron's sending me text messages, and I know he's listening to me, so it's easier for me to just talk to him instead of trying to type while I'm talking. So, Aaron, if you can remember, I'm drawing a blank on this. We have so many problems, I can't figure out how to solve them anymore. I'll just keep going until we try to figure out what that problem is. Let me look at my audio flow and see if I can figure it out. Now I don't see anything that should be causing... Oh, now he said it just went away. Okay, good. I didn't do anything, so might not be something that's in my control right now. I'm not sure. All right. Oh, I was going to add to that question about the book list. So what I'm going to try, and I'm sure I'm going to succeed, to impart to you over this program is everything I've learned in 40 years of being in this industry, which includes all of the reading I have done in 40 years that helped me. I love sharing book recommendations. So yeah, my goal is to be able to recommend 1 or 2 books every session and try to make those books relevant to what we talked about in that section. All right, let's get back to some calls. Let's go to Indiana. Jeff, welcome.
Hey, yeah, I've used your word asshole since I heard you say it years and years ago. I tell people that all the time, and the look on their faces, what?
I have to give credit.
I know you keep asking me the same questions over and over in different ways. What aren't you getting?
Right. Yeah, I have to give credit to Matt. He was the one that gave it to me. Here's what they're doing. When they keep asking a question in a different way, like you just said, they don't really want the answer I'm giving them. They're trying to figure out how to get me to agree with what they've already decided to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I learned from some meme or stuff that I had seen that men are problem solvers. So when your wife starts, you think complaining, I've learned to ask, do you want comfort or do you want solutions?
That is a very...
I'll fix it.
I am so bad at that. I have to fight against that constantly because of what I do all day. I mean, this is my life.
Yeah.
People ask me for my opinion and they want advice. And it's not just on the radio. People everywhere kind of know that's what I do. So I get asked questions like this in the grocery store sometimes. Or, at a restaurant in town. This is what I do, and it's so hard for me to get out of that mode. And I know it drives Lisa crazy. She doesn't want my advice. She's just talking to me. And all of a sudden, I go into problem-solving mode, and, it's bad.
Yeah, and it's like, you never listen. No, I do. I can solve your problem.
Yes.
I don't want it solved. I want it bid.
That's right.
Okay, I can sit here and listen.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing, getting back to what you said with the economy, if it was 6% and now it's only 3%, they say they lowered it 3%. I remember in the 90s, I called out at a open forum, a Democrat representative we had, and I silenced a crowd of like 3,000 people. He had said the budget he wanted was $100 million. He wanted $150 million. And I'm just using easy numbers here.
Right.
He had asked for $150 million, and the Republican Congress only gave him $125 million. And he went and told in his campaign that the Republicans cut the school lunch program by $25 million.
Oh.
And I said, will you quit lying? He goes, what am I lying about? Tell me one thing.
Right.
And I said, you had 100, you got 125. Just because you asked for 150 doesn't mean you lost 25.
Exactly.
And the crowd went silent. He went silent, and I called him out, and I just sat out.
This administration is so bad about that it is lying. They know what the hell they're doing. And it is so easy to do, and it's so easy to fool people. Oh, look, inflation went down. No, it didn't. It just didn't go up as much as it did last month.
Right. If it cost $10 last month.
And the way they say it is a lie. If they said the rate of inflation went down, that would at least be accurate, but it would still be misleading to most people.
Right.
But to say
if it was
inflation went down
$9
is just a lie.
Yeah, if it was $9 and it went up to 10, and this month it's only $10.50, you can't say it went down 50 cents.
Right.
It went back up.
Yeah. And even though people listen to this and believe it, the proof is right in front of your eyes. Go to the store. Yesterday, I have a great example of this. I kind of moved over to the homestead this week because Lisa's traveling, and we're not moving over here anytime soon. I mean, I'm going to be working on this place for a year. I have a lot of stuff we want to do to it, and it's just not practical for us to live over here right now. But I love it over here, and I thought this is a great opportunity for me to just hang out. So I got over here, and I hadn't really planned on food. And yesterday, I'm like, I got to go to the grocery store. So I go to the grocery store, and obviously I buy a lot of meat because I eat mostly carnivore. And I love seafood, so I was buying things like smoked salmon and I'm looking, and I have kind of higher end taste in food. And as I'm putting stuff in my cart, I'm like, boy, I can't wait to see this check out. And it wasn't even that much. It was 3 bags of groceries, 3 paper bags full of groceries. And when the cashier got done, she looked at me and she said, I must have made a mistake. And I said, no, you didn't. I was watching. And she said, that 3 bag of groceries can't possibly be $310. And I said, no, it's right. But think about that. That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably my father was alive when we were growing up. That would have been 6 months worth of food.
Exactly. Yeah. This might last me a week.
Yeah.
I mean, but here, I had ribeyes, I had salmon, I had some mussels, I had, some really expensive chocolate that I absolutely love. It's a really, really nice dark chocolate, but not even the size of a Hershey bar. It's actually a little smaller than a Hershey bar, $6.10 a bar.
Yeah.
It's
and then high-end stuff, that purer stuff like that is expensive. But,
yeah.
So when I called last week about my HRV, and you said the lowest numbers you'd had ever heard of, and I accidentally let an F-bomb slip. I'm sorry about that. It just kind of came out, but it was between you and I.
Yeah.
It wasn't at anybody. It was just in general.
Right.
And I didn't really realize it till Terrence had said something about it. So I hope things going real well with Terrence and his situation there.
Yeah.
But just listening to the show every day, you come accustomed to the people that call in. I like to hear their stories and their updates and how things are going, because they've kind of become, with the tribe, never meeting them, you still like to see how they're doing and making sure everybody's doing well.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, especially for me, because eventually I do get to meet a lot of these people, and I'm really looking forward to next week. And it's kind of funny when it feels like I already know them. So, we're just meeting, but it feels like they're family and I know everything about them. The shock is always that they don't look anything like I pictured they were going to look all these years.
But they sound like,
Yeah.
So, but I did yesterday, got my HRV up to 25, but today it was 15.
Oh, 25 is a good big improvement.
Yeah, but they're right back down to my second lowest reading since I've been charting this. It's back down to 15.
Right.
So
right.
They have all been in the,
So
15 to 19.
I will tell you this. If you've ever heard me explain how the stock market moves, historically, it's always moved like this. If you're watching daily, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's way up, it's way down, it's up, it's down. But overall, the glide path is up. That's how HRV should work. We will have these crazy, wild fluctuations day to day, but our goal is to get in a pattern where we've got an upward glide path. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. No, because I've only got like 14 readings. I only got 2 weeks. I'll give it till, Halloween. I'll have a good month, 6 month glide. And yeah, if I'm up and down, that's one thing. But if I'm started at 14, 15, and now I'm constantly at 22, then that's an upward. Upward glide.
And to give you an example of what's been going on with me on this, kind of interesting, I keep saying mine is down. I'm at some of my lowest points since I started traveling last October. I haven't really recovered from that. And I know why. And I keep saying I have got to get back to my stress protocol because I know it works, and yet I'm just struggling to get it done. I took on way too many things all at once, like I always do, and then other things come up that I hadn't planned on. The interesting thing is, though, just since Sunday, moving over here to the homestead, and I have not done anything different other than being here. I'm doing the exact same stuff as I would be doing as if I were at home, but just being here, my HRV has gone up 10 points.
Yeah, I bet just being out there in the nothingness and quiet and dark.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the quiet and dark, I experienced it this morning. Off the master bedroom is on the second floor, and this I just love this house. I mean, it's not very practical. It's a little quirky, and there's some things to get used to, but it is everything about this house. It is built with solid pine, solid knotty pine, inside, outside, trim, floors, walls, and it's true pine hardwood flooring, knotty pine, not anything engineered or I just love that. And on the master's up in the second floor, and it's got a deck off the master, and you can walk downstairs. It's not very big. It's like 1,600 square feet, and it's a little weird. But I got up this morning early at 5, so it was still pure dark here. And I walked out onto that deck, and you could not see your hand in front of your face, but there were more stars than I have ever seen in a long, long time. I've experienced that before when you get out. If I'm out, we used to do a lot of houseboating, and it was so remote, you would experience that. Or I've parked the RV out in the desert where you can see it. But now the fact that I can step out of bed and walk outside and just see that and just total silence. I do believe it is just being in this environment changed because I'm doing everything I would be doing if I were at home.
Yeah, you can get out there and take a deep breath and just look at the vast nothingness and hear your own heartbeat going, Jesus, there is no one around here.
Well, that's the other crazy
thing. No lights,
thing.
No noises.
From Friday or Sunday early till yesterday when I went to the warehouse and then the grocery store, I realized I had not seen another human being during that time. Not even in a distance.
Damn people that drive you nuts.
Right. Not if I stay here, I don't see anybody unless somebody would come here to see me, and I kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, the guy has two mottos in life, and I love it. He hates two things. He hates the way things are and change.
All right. Hey, Jeff, I got to cut you loose. I just realized I got two more calls, and we don't have a whole lot of time before rolling toe. I don't want to hold those guys up. Let's go to California. Mike, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin. Good morning. How are you hearing me today?
Good. What can I help you with?
Okay, good. I got some background noise in my cab here. That's why I was asking.
No, you're fine.
Last Friday, you were talking. Okay, great. Last Friday, you were talking with Joel. He mentioned that Michelin is dropping out a new line of tires.
Yes.
And got me thinking about tires. And a lot of times when I look on online at different sellers for trucks, they tout the big selling point of brand new virgin tires, yada yada. Well, I'm thinking I'm sure they're not putting top tier tires on.
Oh no, the opposite. They really go look for bargains. Yeah, they look for real bargains when they do that kind of stuff. And you know why they do it?
Sell you, they're new tires.
Do you know why they do it? Well, we know why, because they don't want to spend the money. The reason they're able to do that is because most people don't understand what a real quality tire is and how much difference there is.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking one way. I want to see if you kind of clarify what I'm thinking. When I do buy a tractor or a trailer, it would be better to go out and right away get those tires out of there, put top tier tires on there right from the very get go, or wait.
So one of the, are you planning on buying a used truck, a new truck? You buying from a dealer?
No, it would be used like from an online deal, like truck paper or something like that somewhere.
Okay. So it's a little harder on truck paper, but sometimes not. Here's one of my negotiation strategies, and I'll kind of outline it the way I do it because it makes it more powerful. Hey, Mike, I am going to put you back on hold so you can keep hearing me because the line got really noisy, and then I'll bring you back in. I want to make the explanation, and then I'll bring you back in. So if I'm negotiating with the dealer on a used truck, and I know I already have decided in my mind I'm buying this truck. I don't let them know that yet, but I've already made up my mind. I've done all my homework. I've looked at everything, and I've decided if I have to pay full price for this truck and I don't get anything extra, I'm still buying it. I'm not going to tell the dealer that because now is when I start my negotiation strategies. I will let them know this truck is on my top 3 list, and there's a good chance I might buy it if I can make the right deal. And some of the things I might throw into that deal won't necessarily be price. Price is what we call a win-lose negotiation. If you want a certain price for a truck as the dealer, and I want to pay less as the buyer, which is always the case, if that is the only negotiation, somebody wins and somebody loses, or it's a compromise and neither one of us got what we wanted. So negotiating on price, which is all most people understand, is not a good strategy. Sure, try to negotiate on price, but don't make that your focus. So if the price is in my ballpark, fine. Now let me see what other value I can get. So if I know that dealer has another truck on the lot and it has the tires I want, then I'll start negotiating by saying, you know what, I'm really close. If you could just swap those tires out with these tires, I'll take the truck. Or, remember, dealers can buy tires at wholesale. So I want you to throw in a set of tires, but it's at their cost. It is a big value to me. It doesn't cost them as much to provide that value. Or I can do things like if they have a shop and I'm willing to use their shop for repairs and maintenance, I will ask for 2 free services. And we heard yesterday that a synthetic oil change was $800. Well, if that's the case, I'm getting $800 worth of value. It may only cost the dealer $400 in reality. That is what we call win-win negotiating. So if there's a way that when you're looking at a truck, you could negotiate for a better set of tires with them, that's better than negotiating price. Does that make sense?
Yes, I hadn't thought about that negotiation part of it.
Yeah, that is real negotiation where we all have a way to win. If all we are doing is negotiating price, somebody's going to lose, or we both lose. Neither one of us get exactly what we wanted if we're negotiating price. It's a compromise. It's either a win-lose or a lose-lose.
So it'd be more just look at what tires are there now and see what quality they are.
Right.
And then consider getting them changed out for a better quality tire.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
If the dealer has to go buy tires, well, he still may have a use for the ones he took off the truck. So there's more wiggle room in there for everybody to get what they want.
Turned into a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so if let's say, I can even be specific. Look, I'm ready. I will sign the contract right now if you put this set of tires on that truck. Now, if they had already put a new set of tires on this truck, all they have to do is take them off, and the next used truck they buy, throw them on there. They didn't lose any value there.
On there, yeah.
And sometimes,
what do you think of trying to get him?
sometimes I have to explain this concept to the guy that's trying to sell me the truck because he doesn't even get this stuff.
And what would you think about trying to negotiate for Y-based super singles without even being a consideration on their part of it?
Absolutely. I'll ask for anything. All they can do is say no.
They know, right?
And look, here's another one of my negotiation strategies. Ask for two or three really outrageous things that I know they're not going to do. And what that does is psychologically, if I ask you for something I know you're not going to do, it's outrageous, and you have to say no, and then I'm going to do it again, and you have to say no again, and I might try a third time, and you're going to say no again, then I'm going to ask for what I really want, which is reasonable, and now all of a sudden they're tired of saying no, and they're going to say yes.
Yeah, get them off guard.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I teach all these strategies in the CMC. In much more detail.
Yeah, I haven't gotten part where I've learned much about the negotiating and that part of it yet. So
it's a big part. And, we, as a small business owner in this industry, we negotiate constantly on equipments, on parts, on service, on freight, on all kinds of things.
So that's something I'll put in my mind here, but when I do get ready to go buy the tractor or the trailer, just negotiate for better tires or better options available rather than so much the price.
Yep.
Okay. That's all I had for today. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. I have one more call to knock out, and then we will head on into Rolling Toe. Hey, I'll let you know right now, Rolling Toe is coming up. It is a call-in talk show. It's a whole lot easier when you have calls and questions. You can start dialing for Rolling Toe right now. We keep the platform open and we just roll right in to the next segment. So if you have questions about tires, alignment, handling, vibrations, all that stuff, you can start dialing right now. We'll get your call screened and get you ready to go. You'll be the first one in. Let's go to Massachusetts. Todd, welcome.
Hey, this might be a Rolling Toe thing, actually. You had a caller the other day that was real hot and heavy to explain the infrastructure of the Volvo engine or the architecture, and I don't know anything about it, so I just know a word that I think would be helpful, and we've all heard of centrifugal force. I think the word or the concept that he wants to use to explain to people about how that engine works is centripetal force, and it's like, you've been 60 trips around the sun. Well, in the sun, we go around the sun, that's centripetal as opposed to centrifugal, and it creates an elliptical orbit. And before I put anybody to sleep, I just wanted to throw that word out there, centripetal. So
hey, Todd, I get what you're saying, and there's a term for this, and I got to go look it up. I read a book about this, actually. There's a term for when we understand something, and we're usually talking about things that are complicated. We understand it because we've thought about it, worked on it, researched it, asked a bunch of questions. We can become blind to the fact that not everybody has that base of knowledge that we have. And I understand why you're bringing this up, but for me to throw out a word like centripetal force that nobody has ever heard before, they have no base of knowledge, and I have lost them already.
Right. Well, I think gyro might be a better way to go. I understand. I just thought I'd throw it out there because I happen to remember learning the word a million years ago. And anyway, I know we're short on time. I want to ask you something about the CMC. And, I'm not an owner-operator, and I never will, but something occurred to me that when you were talking about Matt's numbers, up to 270K, and I thought, well, why not? Why doesn't Kevin just put out some of his marketing as, learn your way to 200K, CMCKR or something else?
That's kind of a catchy slogan. I was on a space yesterday, and I talked about this, and I may have talked about it on the air. I'm doing so many different things now, shows, spaces, webinars, events, coaching. I am starting to lose track of what I said where. So if I start repeating myself, it's because I know I've said it before, I just can't remember where I said it. And what I talked about was we are really bad marketers as a company. We're horrible at it. We're trying to get better. Nobody in the company has any marketing background. We don't have a marketing department. Nobody's in charge of marketing. Brittany and Lisa are kind of creating our marketing department plan now. But again, neither one of them have ever been educated in marketing. We're trying to learn as we go. And somebody might say, well, Kevin, if you're so good at business, why do you suck at marketing? And I admit we do. But here's why. We got lazy being on Sirius. All I have to do in my mind is get somebody to listen to my show, and then they're either going to love it or hate it. That's usually the response. If they hate it, I'm probably never going to sell them anything anyway. If they love it and they listen long enough, they'll start buying stuff from us. And when we were on Sirius, we had new listeners constantly, and I didn't have to do anything to get them. And it worked really well for us. They started listening. If they list long enough, they start buying, and life was good. As soon as we were off Sirius, that flow of new people coming in stopped. How would anybody know that we're on the air doing this stuff? How do you find us? And it wasn't like we were able to address that issue on day one because we had to build out a whole new show and infrastructure and technology. We're still working on that. So I don't want to market our show when we still have some of the technical issues like we're having again today. So we decided, build out the infrastructure, get our listener app done, get our broadcast app done, and then our focus is going to shift to marketing. And we're just going to have to, learn on the job.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, learn your way to 200K. And
I like
that would be maybe something, And so I really am curious, since you mentioned it, Spaces. When are you doing Spaces, and how am I supposed to know? I haven't seen you pop up in there in like 3 months.
Yeah, I'm not doing Spaces myself right now because it's just too much of a time commitment. I don't have time. But what I do is, the whole we call it the Freight X community.
Yep.
It's brokers, it's tech guys, it's product companies, it's truckstop.com. It's everybody that kind of interacts. We all follow each other, and we're all involved in freight in one way or another. There are analysts in there. It's just a really cool community, and there are some good spaces going on, and it's easy for me when I see one and I have a couple minutes to just jump in. Because if I have to go do something else, I can just jump right back out. But if I put on a space, then people expect me to stay there and run the space.
Oh, you're committed, yeah.
Yeah. So I've just been watching, and if I see an interesting space, and there have been some good ones, and I just jump in. And I jumped in last night, and right in the middle of me explaining something, a call came in, and it was late at night, but I knew based on who it was about the CMC, and they wouldn't be calling me at that time of night unless it was important. So I just jumped off and took the call. I didn't even say goodbye on the space because I couldn't. Somebody else was talking, and I had to answer the phone, so I just jumped out. Yep.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I get it with your coaching and all that stuff is taking up your time. Speaking of which, I'm going to try and keep it really short. I know you're up against it.
That's all right.
Brain supplements. Can you tell me the name of what brain supplement you sell, and does it have the mushrooms in it? I think I heard lion's mane.
All of our Four Sigmatic products are based on what are called adaptogens. And adaptogens work on our central nervous system and balance it and make it more powerful. So that includes things like, brain fog and clarity in our thinking. It also includes things like our immune system. I mean, different adaptogens work on different things, and some of them, like lion's mane, actually help us think better. One of their coffees is actually called Think. That's the coffee I drink every morning.
And, Four Sigmatic?
Yeah, it's all of the Four Sigmatic products. They all have some form of mushroom, an adaptogen mushroom. Mushrooms are some of our most powerful adaptogens. We have herbs that can be adaptogens. Mushrooms are some of the most powerful. So all of our Four Sigmatic products have them.
Is there some supplement you said that's mixed with like beef brain and the mushroom, the lion's mane?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Remember. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know where I heard it or saw it in my notes. I just wanted to ask you about it. And okay, before I become an asshole, I can push on.
All right. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. All right. Look at that. I'm only 5 minutes over time, and Rolling Toe just rolled into the room. So let me bring those guys in here and make sure everything's okay on their end, and then I will turn them loose. We do have phone lines open. This is a call-in Q&A talk show. It's always a little easier when you have somebody asking questions. And I know you've got questions for these guys. Jump in and ask them. 319-527-6791, or even easier, if you're listening on the app, just hit that call now button and get in here and talk to these guys. Good morning, guys.
Morning. Are we there? Can you hear us?
We can hear you loud and clear. Well, at least it's loud and clear on my end.
Well, it's loud and clear for me, too.
Yep.
Excellent.
I heard at least that last call, so yes, very clear.
Good, you guys.
And I should say, we don't really have a marketing department either. It's pretty much just myself.
And your background is loaded with marketing education, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, all those basically working on trucks and building equipment. It's loads of marketing.
Well, I've sold insurance, and I've sold water softeners.
You sold, yes.
And I've sold
Kevin, good
alignments.
point. That's about what I was just going to say.
You sold it, but that's not the same as marketing.
We always say sales and marketing together because they do go together. I consider myself pretty darn good at sales. It's not like what I consider my primary job, and I've never been paid directly by anybody to sell stuff other than the stuff I sell myself. It's never been my job. But marketing, I am awful. I don't get it. I don't know. That all those concepts just don't click very well with me.
Yeah, I'm having all sorts of trouble and fun with it too. I'm really looking forward to this Mid-America Truck Show. Got some things that I think are going to come together that as we present it to the crowd there, they're gonna love it and get more out of our presence, not just here on the podcast, but also everywhere else on the internet.
Yeah, Mike, I still get confused with this too, because my attitude about this, and I think that you guys are the same way when it comes to this. That's why we partner. My attitude about what we do is everything we do, I truly believe we are the best at it. There's nobody else that does what we do any better than we do. We're really, really good at this. So why don't you just buy my product? But that's sales. Marketing,
right.
all marketing really means is we have to make you aware of what we do and why we're so good at it. Because that phrase, boy, talk about a phrase that got repeated over and over and is an absolute lie, is build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. That is total bullshit. Right?
Yeah, you can have the best mousetrap in the world sitting in your garage, and if nobody knows it's there, they ain't going to buy it.
Absolutely. Right. And that is the essence of marketing. We just have to make you aware that we're even here and we exist and grab your interest a little bit. Now it's our job to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I can just get to everybody, then they can figure out what we're worth.
And I will tell you this, that the market you and I go after is one of the hardest to reach.
Yeah.
Where do you find these guys? I mean, we know where they are, but how do you get to them where they are?
Yeah, magazines don't work anymore.
No.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's gone.
And there was a time where magazines were 100% of my marketing. I used to write columns for like 8 different magazines at one point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was great. Just a little square ad in the back of the classifieds would work to get the contact that we needed to keep going.
Right.
Trade shows work a little bit.
But the problem with trade shows, it's hard to cost justify it.
Yes, exactly. And so we tried magazines. We tried a little bit of radio. That was really expensive. And then we went telemarketing, and we went door to door.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Old school stuff.
And it was really expensive.
really
Yeah,
expensive.
that's hunting with a rifle and no shotgun at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then we dropped back after we had spent a lot of time and money on that, and we dropped back to letting the seeds that we had planted produce fruit and call us back.
Right.
And we survived on that. And now we got to figure out how to plant more seeds.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I was saying we got really lazy at this as a company, and I explained why. Radio is one of the most powerful ways to reach these guys, whether it's
Yes.
satellite, which was the most powerful, or a show like Midnight Trucking, which was all, I forget the word they use. It was all over the country on different stations. And, you know, I used to work with those guys a lot. That was powerful stuff. And I managed to get a lot of that airtime free by, like you did. You know, you have value to bring to their show, so let's trade. I'll bring you value. You bring me all this exposure. It was a wonderful system. And then I got fortunate enough to actually get my own show. And like you said, it's expensive. The last rate I remember hearing, I didn't get very involved with this. My original deal, people used to speculate all the time. Oh, I'll bet Kevin Rutherford pays for that show. And then somebody else thought I made $1 million a year because, you know, I was on the radio.
Right.
Radio does not pay all that well to the people who are doing radio, unless you're Howard Stern. And I was always transparent about it. If you want to know my deal, just ask me. I'll tell you. My original deal with XM, the one I absolutely loved, they said they didn't have a budget to pay me. Okay. We don't even have a budget to buy your equipment. We don't have a budget to give you a call screener or a producer. But if you can manage to put on a show for us, we'll give you the airtime and we'll give you half of the commercial inventory. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it at any price you want. We don't care. You can give it away. You can use it yourself. And I said, great, good deal. At that time, airtime on XM and XM and Sirius were separate at that time. Airtime on XM was $300 a minute.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago. So that was, I mean, think about how much value I received by being given that platform.
Yes.
Well, just being a little part of it, we recognize it.
Yeah, it was huge. So it made us lazy marketers.
Well, now, I got to say, for our purposes, the word of mouth of people that got work done by our customers, and between our customers, so the alignment providers and other potential alignment providers, that's been good and pretty good.
That's been 90% of our sales for the last 5-6 years.
Excellent.
Right. It's people that the product itself, the process itself, it works. So it keeps on growing.
Yeah.
But very, very slowly.
The crazy thing was so when I was on XM alone, I had the ability to sell commercials and generate a lot of revenue, and also bring in a lot of new customers. It was a killer deal. When Sirius took over, I won't go through the whole gory details, but the way it eventually worked out, I ended up working from the time I left XM till the time I got my new contract in the daytime slot. And that was more than 10 years, I believe, or right around 10 years. That entire time, no money changed hands between Sirius and myself. I did not get paid to do that show. So what?
Yeah.
So where did your income come from?
I didn't care. It came from the exposure that I had, and it allowed me to sell things much, much easier, and I didn't have to spend any money on marketing.
Got it.
So it was
Truly
well worth it for
exposure.
me. And then when they came to me and offered me that afternoon primetime slot, I realized at that point, even though they don't like me, nobody there liked me. I mean, it was awful. I realized even though they don't like me, they must want me because they're moving me to the primetime slot. This would be a good time to ask for some money. And I did, and I got it.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the way it should work.
It's a great life.
Yes.
We'll make it work this space, too.
Hey, you guys
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, see, now I'm retiring, so all the problems are Kevin's.
I know.
Welcome.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a new world.
That's
it's
right.
Going to be
Hey.
a lot of fun.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
you are going to attempt to retire, you mean?
I have successfully semi-retired for about the last year.
Yeah. And
9
I,
months.
my prediction is you will always be semi-retired.
I agree.
Oh,
I
that's-
agree.
that's
They
true.
still leave the tech line in my phone, so I'm still handling tech calls every day.
Yeah, that's and I'm sure there's quite often where Kevin reaches out and says, "I need your opinion on this."
Oh yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
And next week, because he's going to the Mid-American Truck Show in Louisville, and we have a requirement to provide training for Continental Tire down in Texas, I'm going to Texas.
See, there you go. But I just talked to somebody about this the other day. Our traditional model of work and retirement is horribly flawed.
Yeah.
This idea of you spend the majority of your adult life in a job that you really don't enjoy, looking forward to the time where you can retire and do nothing, and the statistics are people who do that die not long after they retire.
2-3 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so your model of, look, I used to work really, really, really hard all these years building a business, and now I'm not just going to stop doing everything and wonder what I'm going to spend my day doing when I wake up. I'll work when I want to work.
Well, the other part of that is I have spent 60 years developing knowledge and skills, and I don't want to just take it into the grave.
Perfect.
Right.
So the more people I can share it with, the better.
Perfect. Exactly.
If the ability to do it from the comfort of your home most of the time is the retirement aspect of that.
Yeah.
He gets to enjoy himself just sitting around, and getting people to listen to him.
Yeah, and on
other
any
than the
given
pigeons and the dog.
And on any given day, if you want to go golf instead of working, you just go golf.
Yeah, I do whatever I want to do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Mainly, I just want to stay out of the wife's way.
I have a phrase for that, and I try to use it quite often. In fact, I've done an entire seminar on this concept. I did it to NACFE, the North American Council for Freight Efficiency. They asked me to speak one time, and my theme was, and Mike, I look at you like this for me. I call it standing on the shoulders of giants. I consider you the giant in this category. You have that 60-year, really, you have that knowledge that I could never accumulate myself. It's impossible. I can't do that now. But you've done that.
Time.
And what I can do is I can stand on your shoulders and your knowledge and reach even higher.
Well, that is the biggest satisfaction I get out of the whole business that we have done all the time and what we do today is having some guy want to start a business, buys our equipment, listens to our training, and avails himself of our mentoring and winds up with a successful owner-operator business.
Right.
Yeah.
Jerry Ream, Chad.
Right.
All these guys. And then now I'm going to say this next Matt's show, we're staying at the Delta House, I call it. It's a Airbnb that is just huge. That a bunch of us are going to be at, Shanna and several others. And what surprised me was the number of fathers and sons that are going to be at the Mid-American Truck Show.
Because the sons are learning to take over the father's businesses that the father started.
I love that. That is so cool. One year we took our whole team to Louisville, and we did get an Airbnb house. And this was way back before anybody even knew what Airbnb didn't exist back then. But there were still services. They weren't real popular because nobody knew about them, that you could do houses like this. And we stayed in this wild house, and it was big because we had our whole team down there. The story was, I'm not sure if it was true or not, that Davy Crockett actually lived on that property at one point.
Okay.
So it was kind of
Did you
fun.
find any raccoon skin hats?
No, but one of our employees went down into this crazy business and swear they saw a ghost or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see about that.
Far out. Do we have any callers holding on the line?
You do
There's a couple.
actually. Yeah. So I should probably get out of here and let you guys do what you do best.
It has been a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Yeah.
Great talking to
And
you. Have a
hopefully
good show.
I'll see you next week.
I will
Alrighty,
see you
buddy.
then.
Bye-bye.
Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.